Things are definitely getting more active, and our Insights video is the part where we can really do that deep dive into meteorology. And there's actually kind of a lot to talk about here, not just here at home, across the country, but it all ties into what's going on in New England. It's quiet for another couple of days. We'll enjoy that. And then after that, we get some meaningful rain on Thursday, some snow in the mountains. But I'm going to tell you what I want you to look for and be ready for with regard to that snow. If you're into skiing, if you're waiting for snow in northern and western New England, we're going to talk about that. Okay, in terms of rain over the last 24 hours, boy, this has been a pattern that has reversed itself. The central United States was in extreme drought, and now time and again, a repetitive storm pattern has been dumping rain and totally reversed that. And I've been telling you that New England tends to do the same thing. I mean, the showers this morning, really not meaningful, right? Very little rain that came on by, not really enough to make a difference. Our rain deficit is still substantial. But I mentioned last week that, at least anecdotally, in the decades I've been doing this in New England, right, and loving weather my whole life, we have never seen a period of time that has gone so long as it would stretch through this upcoming winter into spring without reversing the drought. And usually when you reverse it, it's because you get into the same thing the central U.S. has just gotten into, a repetitive storm track. So it could be a very interesting winter. Let's get started out with what's going on right now. The jet stream, subtropical jet with moisture from the south and energy from the north phasing, coming together and making that storm in the nation's midsection. We're not into that yet. Otherwise, we'd be into a storm. And a ripping jet developing across the eastern Pacific. That is the beginning of an atmospheric river setup, which is this flow of moisture that comes blasting into the Pacific Northwest. That's going to be a bomb when it deepens very quickly and heads toward the western U.S. coast, and it will bring a lot of rain and a lot of snow to that part of the country. So today's weather map, most of the focus goes to the central United States and the rain that's sweeping through there. Notice that we get quieter. I mentioned the sun coming out today in our Noyes notes and 1 degree outside today video for the next 24 hours, but the next couple of days are fairly quiet. Bit of a breeze tomorrow, Wednesday, less wind, and it looks like it'll still be fair, but we're starting to set things up with the energy coming at us. And of course, the Pacific Northwest continues to set things up with that blast of moisture that comes in off the Pacific. So in terms of total precipitation over the next 48 hours, there's a pretty broad swath, again, turning around the drought across the nation's midsection. Here comes some thunderstorms enhancing the rain when you get down across the Gulf Coast. And here is that substantial precipitation that comes into the Northwest. Let's swing it over to snow. I think you'll be kind of astounded at how things look when you get out west. Now, we are going to get some in the northern plains, so the snow area is expanding. Remember last week it was only in the high terrain of the Northwest, but this is remarkable. From Northern California all the way up the Cascades, if you look and you see some of the little white bullseyes that are in here, you line that up to the legend, that's like 4 feet of snow that's going to come over the next few days. Winter's coming on. Here at home, again, we will avoid it all for the next couple of days, and then we'll get ready for that much-needed rain Thursday. Now, when you look at this surface map, at first, it's really exciting because you see the storm develop, whoa, right over the Cape, which would be actually the potential for an awesome snow path for the mountains of northern New England. I don't think it's that cut and dry. In fact, I'm not super excited about the amount of snow that would fall Thursday into Friday. You might do better Friday night and Saturday, believe it or not. And you can see the colder air slowly getting involved in making that change in the mountains in particular on Friday, though by then, most of the moisture has fallen. Let's get into a little bit more. First of all, rain. We need it. It's been looking very consistently like a ½ inch to an inch of rain. It still looks very consistently like it'll be that amount. That will make a difference. That will be able to bring down the brush fire danger a bit. And of course, it makes a dent anyway in the drought conditions, right? I want you to be really careful, though, when it comes to snow. I'm showing you here, for example, one example, the European model and the forecast out of that. You're going to see this stuff flying around online on social media, right? Oh, look at this area. That looks like 8 to 10 inches of snow that comes down in the southern Greens. Oh, boy, and look at that. When you get into the presidentials, you got 2 feet of snow that's on the way. Huge area of accumulation. Yeah. Here's why I'm going to say be careful, because that's through Friday evening. I can't believe, it could happen, but I don't believe we're going to get that kind of snow through Friday evening, and here's why. When you look at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, let's go up about 18,000 feet. I'm going to show you the energy centers here, okay? And that's going to show up in red and in purple for the real intense energy. Here comes the energy. It's a combination of stuff out of Canada, the subtropical jet, and then even some of that Pacific Northwest energy as well. By Thursday evening, where is the mid-level storm? It's down to our south and west. Remember, storms turn counterclockwise. What does that mean? That's a southerly wind. You're not bringing in colder air on Thursday evening or Thursday night. Even by Friday, where's the center of that mid-level storm? It's over eastern New York at Glens Falls. What is that doing? Still very hard to bring in meaningful cold air through a deep layer of the atmosphere with that setup. But as everything starts to go away, most of the precipitation has fallen. But as it starts to go away, now you align your winds out of the north and northwest. Now you become more favorable to bring in colder air. And now you can set up what we call some upslope flow, or flow up against the mountains that can crank out some snow too. Let's back that up. Temperatures at 6,000 feet, about the summit of Mount Washington, we'll say, right? Watch what happens here over the coming couple of days. Oh, you go well above freezing. What I've done here is in the deep blue, that's your near freezing temperatures. If you got heavy enough precipitation, you could flip the scale to snow. And then when you get the lighter blue coloring, that's your sub-freezing temperatures at 6,000 feet. So notice as we get into Thursday afternoon, where are those sub-freezing temperatures? New York, Pennsylvania. Not really here, right? By the time we get to Friday, a little expansion of that. So again, where we get some heavier bursts of precipitation left over on Friday, you might be able to start switching things over in some of the mountains. But I don't think it would be like that map I told you to be wary of, right? You can see why I say that when you look at the setup. Well, by Saturday, it all gets ready to leave. But that actually is when you might do best across the Green Mountains and maybe some of the whites too, because you can start to turn that wind out of the northwest and out of the north. I think it's too early to say how much you would get out of that, because right now we have to make sure that that thinking is correct in terms of how the atmosphere is going to set up. But if it goes the way that we're thinking, that's what you're looking at, is probably a disappointing amount on Thursday into Friday, maybe a little bit happier amount for those of you that are waiting for snow in northern New England and the mountains on Friday night into Saturday as it all gets ready to ship out. We'll see. Okay, Tuesday's highs, 50s for many, 40s when you get in the north. Still a wind at about 10 to 18 miles an hour coming out of the northwest. Tuesday night, down to the 30s. Wednesday, the clouds begin to increase. It's still dry. It's quiet. The wind is quiet. You're in the 50s. There's the rain on Thursday. We'll take it. You're talking about temperatures running in the 40s and to around 50, a cool day. And Friday cooling off enough that, yeah, you do start to make the change in some of the mountains, but not enough probably that you get a substantial accumulation. Again, on the backside, some of the favorite upslope flow areas might be able to. And if you want more detail, if you want to see exactly what it's going to be like at your favorite ski area, anything like that, grab our free app, Noyes' 1 degree outside weather. Set your locations. You can set like over a dozen of them. And you can even actually, if you hit the 3 dots after you save the location, do pinpoint. You can put it to your exact favorite spot to get the forecast for that location. That's how things look for now. There's a lot to keep track of. We will keep you posted all week long on the website at 1degreeoutside.com, on the app, and of course on all our social media channels, the number 1 degree outside.